Hi everyone, my name is Karen Burke. I am a science and maths teacher, and this year I am working with Microsoft Education Ireland to support schools and educators with their digital journey. Last year I was in school and I got to experience the remote learning from March until the year end. From this I gained a number of tips and insights that I'm going to share with you today to make this a little easier. You can find me on Twitter at MissKBurke1, where I regularly share tips, or if you are looking for support, please contact me and let me know. As you can see here, I've gone into my team. One of the really good tips that I have found, and it's not just from myself, but from others, is during your closure, it's a really good idea to have a dedicated channel for a live lesson, or perhaps you want to have an area for the schedule. And in that, you would put in the homework, what classes you're going to be online for, assessments that you might have occurring during that period. If you want to briefly recap over how we add a channel, all we simply do is go into our team, hit our ellipses and add our channel. And you can call this closure live lessons, and then that channel will be there for everyone because I've made it accessible to everyone on the team. The benefit for this is that when you are arranging your live lessons, for example, your students will always know where to go to find it. And we will look at now about how to best schedule your live classes as well. So I'm a science teacher, and bearing that in mind, I would have my science classes at the same time every week. So what I would do when I'd be setting up my live lessons is I would do this ahead of time. I go into Closure Live Lessons, go up to Meet, and instead of Meet Now, I'm going to drop this down and schedule a meeting. So I might just call this Science Class. And I don't have to add require attendees because I've done this in the channel within my team. So everyone is already invited. So what I might do is I might want to choose it. It's for Monday, for example, and say my live lesson happens at 2 o'clock, just after lunch. And I'm going to be online for, say, a half an hour, for example. Because this closure is going to be happening for until the 30th of January, instead of doesn't repeat, I might make that weekly. And so I only am scheduling this once, and it's going to happen for every Monday until I change it. And then I'm going to hit send. So you'll see this meeting has popped in here, and that's great. I'm going to pop in here and I'm going to hit the view meeting details. Within this now, I'm going to go to my meeting options and I am going to change some of these. So your meeting options are the really handy things that mean that the lesson can't start without me as the teacher, for example. So who can bypass the lobby? The lobby is the waiting room, and I highly recommend that if I'm the teacher, I change this to only me. The reason for that is that the lesson can only start when I start it. So it doesn't matter if a student comes in at 5 to 1, they can't start the lesson without me being present. They will remain in the waiting room. You can turn on that you announce when callers join or leave the call if you want, or you can leave that off. Who can present? If you are only going to be me presenting, you can change it to only me. But if you want it that the students can share screen and show you what work they've done, then you need to leave this to everyone. Again, if you want your students to be able to talk to you, you need to allow attendees to unmute. So just make sure that's hit to yes. And then when you hit save, these meeting options are going to be saved for all the Monday lessons at 2 o'clock. And that's a really handy tip because it means now I'm setting up this lesson once, but it's going to cover all my Monday lessons for that given time. And so I'm done. So that's a nice handy one, and I can close that out. I can again schedule another meeting, for example, if I want for my Tuesday lesson. So you might call this the Tuesday class. And again, make sure that the time reflects the time of the class. say for example, it's at 10 o'clock, and don't forget, if you can edit these, so even though it comes up at 10, I can change it to 10:10 and then change it to 10:40. But again, I can alter this to reflect the time that I want to be online. My biggest tip is you don't have to be online for all of the class. You could pop on for 20 minutes of work and then give them, say, some work to be doing themselves after that. And again, we can have this repeating weekly. So again, when I set up these classes and I am making these changes, I'm only setting it up once. The benefit for this is when I pop into my calendar, you will see there is my science class. There's the Tuesday science class. I can flick forward and you'll see my Tuesday science classes that are available there. And then that obviously follows my class timetable. So my lessons all the way up to this 30th of January are already set up for me. So that's a really handy tip and one I would strongly recommend that you use. So here I am as Marcia, and I'm going to join my science lesson now. You remember that we turned on the option that students would remain in the lobby or only the teacher could bypass it. You'll see once we join, the only option that Marcia gets is that when the meeting starts, we'll let people know that you're waiting. So the students can't talk to each other prior to the teacher being present. So then if I go back to my teacher mode, you will see now she is present. I can now join the lesson. I'm just going to click join. And you'll see it's popped up here that Marcia is waiting in the lobby, and we can view the lobby or admit her. If there are multiple people in the lobby, you will actually get the opportunity to admit them all together. And you're just going to have to hit the tick to let them in. So now you'll see that Marcia is present in the class. And that's very handy. You will see then when we looked at the number of people, if we click on the 3 dots, you will actually see that you can download the attendance list. This is really handy so that you will know, and I would recommend doing this obviously towards the end of the lesson, but who is present in your class on a given day. So you can easily track who's present without having to call a roll out, or if people are coming in late, it won't interrupt you having to take a roll then and there. So that's one of the things that I would recommend. So hitting show participants and then the 3 ellipses, download attendance list. Very handy. A couple other things then just to point out is you can start your recording and this will record the lesson. This is very useful, especially when you think about students at home. They may only have one access to a single device, or there may be low bandwidth at home. So this means that they can access it at kind of their leisure, if they can't get on for the class time. And that is very useful. Just to point out that the student can raise their hand to let you know that they need to ask a question like they would in class. And I would go through this with them. Use the raise hand, or you can click on this and they can start a conversation. So if I toggle back here to Marcia, and you will see I can just say, "Hi, Miss, what are we doing today?" And I would definitely recommend that if students are shy, that you're telling them that if they don't want to ask their question by putting up their hands, they can do so with the chat. So there's a couple of things. You see there's the raise hand. So Marcia's hand is now raised. And I'm going to go back to my teacher mode. And you'll see that it's flagged up here, the little hand saying that Marcia has her hand up. So Marcia could unmute and ask her question, or you could call on her, or you can lower the hand when that is done. And you can check in the conversation and you can see, "Hi, Miss, what are we doing today?" I, as the teacher, I can like that. And I definitely encourage that you respond to all engagement to promote further engagement. And then you can simply reply to the question orally. And that makes it kind of very easy. You're not having to be busy typing while you're trying to teach, because you wouldn't do that in class. You just respond to the whole class. So there are a few things. To share content or to share information, you will click open the share tray and you can share your screen. So you might want to share your whiteboard with them if you so wish to do so. And your whiteboard is being generated here. And obviously with whiteboard, you have two options. You can present whiteboard, only I can edit, or you can collaborate so that everyone can edit. So if this was like in class, it'd be only myself writing and I can write away there. And this can be done with a mouse, or if you've got a stylus, if you so wish to do so. And you can teach away just like normal. So that's very handy for you to use during a class. As well as whiteboard, you can share a number of other programs with your screen. So for example, I'm going to share here my PowerPoint about moons, seasons and tides. And all I've done previous to this is have it open. And you'll see now it is going to open the file directly. What I really like about this is when you're sharing a specific application, you really have great control over what content is shared with students, and you can't accidentally minimize the screen and, you know, something else might pop up, for example. So I definitely recommend that. Share the app that you wish to share as opposed to sharing an entire screen. And you can see you can go through a PowerPoint like you would normally in class and ask students questions and seek engagement from them as you would normally. All the while, you can have that conversation still open as you are going through. So really handy way of doing that. And then at the end, you can simply hit stop presenting and it will bring you back to this situation. During lessons, you may wish to share a file with your students. There are a number of ways of doing this. The best option I can see, if you wish to share a file that remains uneditable by them, such as read-only, is to use the class materials folder. All items in class material are read-only access for students. That means they can view them, but for them to edit them, they will have to download it onto their own device and make changes locally there. Materials that are located outside of class materials folder, such as in this case, body systems or solar system, these remain editable by all. This is very useful if you want to create a PowerPoint, for example, or a task in which multiple people are collaborating on. Once a file is uploaded, the students will get a notification message in the general channel to let them know it has been added. If during a meeting you find that your students are unable to share their screen and share their work, such as Marcia here, you'll notice her share icon is grayed out. This is because she has been added as an attendee. To enable this, you have to go into your call, show participants, hit the three dots or three ellipses and hit manage permissions. You will then see that who can present can be changed to specific people or everyone. I can then hit save. This permission will then be changed for the lesson. You will now see Marcia is a presenter and she can share content. She can open the share tray and share her screen. One further tip I have for you is at the end of the call, do not hang up. You need to hit three dots and hit end meeting. This will end the meeting for everyone as opposed to you just leaving the call and removing it running. Want to see how your students are engaging? You can add the Insights tab. Here, I've already added it, but if you wish to add it yourself, you just click the plus arrow, search for, and you'll see it come up straight away, or if not, just type Insights and it will begin to come up. You need to unclick Post to the channel about this tab and hit Save. The benefit of this is it tracks the digital engagement this week. So in this case, there were 6 inactive students, 1 less than last week, 1 new communication, and it flags if someone was inactive. So in this case, you'll see Marcia was inactive last week. If there are assignments due or grades due, it will also let you know this, but you have the ability to track the digital activity. When you open it, you will see who was online and, for example, who wasn't online during a call. So here I'm drilling down to see, and you can see that during this time, Marcia viewed the files, she visited the live lessons, and she was on the meeting for 3 minutes out of 3 minutes and replied to a message. You can then see the other members of the class missed their meeting. And it is this data that will be invaluable to track student engagement during a school closure. You can actually also add it over here by clicking on the 3 dots, adding in insights, and you will be able to see insights for all your lessons. Now, bear this in mind that this is a demo account, so that's why I have so many inactive students, but it's a really good way of tracking the engagement to your classes, especially during a school closure. One final note, depending on your license type, the recording from your meeting may be in one of 2 areas. If you are on an A1 license, if you look after the meeting is closed in the meeting chat, you will see it there. You can download it and have access to this for 21 days. If you're on an A3 license, it has been uploaded directly to Stream. The only difference for you now is if you're in an A1 license and you wish to have access it after the 21 days, you need to download it and upload it again to Stream and share out the link. You can always find me on Twitter at MissKburke1. This is the very first tutorial. There are a number more coming, covering breakout rooms, assessment for learning, assistive technologies,